simple living's valued, she'd be loved and understood. I put her on a treadle stand and coaxed her wheel to turn. I felt her joy and easing with my study and concern. I cleaned her and I oiled her, showed her off to all my friends, repaired the hurts of years and let her sew again.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So today I'm going to start working on this 27. So this is a very old girl. She's from the 1800s. So originally she was in a treadle cabinet, but at some point, guessing 40s or 50s, she was motorized. And this motor, it's actually kind of cool, and it's very hard to find these now. It's a 𝐥𝐤𝐤 motor, but it's this part that's important here, because when you have a treadle machine, especially a shuttle treadle or something that has a belt operated bobbin winder, if you motorize it, this won't turn unless you have a motor with one of these types of ends, and basically you'll have to put a second belt that'll go to this front piece here. So that's kind of cool. The owner of this machine wants to be able to use it with the motor and light and everything, and so that is fine. She's going to get a totally new look, and this is a rescue machine. Someone had gotten it, and I'm going to see if I can put a link to the story because it's kind of a cool story. Someone had gotten it at a farm auction, and she got it from them, so that's kind of cool. The tension unit on here, it's just the manual one that you have to kind of push with your thumb, as the super old styles are. So let's go ahead and get started taking her apart. All right, so one of the first things I want to do here, after I tighten up my camera, is to take off the motor. And since there is no boss here, what they did is they created some holes down here that a mounting bracket could go onto, which is fabulous. That's a great idea. So I'm just gonna unscrew these nuts. Let me get a little magnetized dish to put things into here. Okay, so there is a nut. Is there a washer? Yes, there is. So nut and washer from the bottom, hopefully the same on the top. I think I can pull that little band off. If anyone knows of a current supplier or something that can make these guys, I would be very interested. Basically what it is, and I'll take it off, but it looks like this is just a little 3 indented pulley system, and honestly I only need 2, but 3 helps with, position that way. That it looks like can just be screwed onto a regular motor, because if you look and see, that shaft does not go all the way through. So I'll probably just be using these 2 little pieces right here for stability. Or if anyone knows of someone, who's good at machining or 3D printing or whatever, who might be able to create these, please leave a comment. I would be very, very interested. I'm going to put this away. I'll deal with it later. Let me go ahead and see how I can take this off. Those look like rivets or something. So I need to flip this machine upside down, see what the bottom looks like. So this is what it's looking like from the bottom. I'm going to see if I can just unscrew that. It looks like I can. All right, so from the top we have this kind of screw. From the bottom, this kind of nut. Again, sometimes you do what you need to do, and I know there's going to be people who are outraged that the original integrity of a machine is changed or something, but especially if this was done right after World War II. I mean, there was a shortage on a lot of stuff, so people made do with what they could, and I am not going to cast any blame anywhere. Okay, so my little bracket is off. That's going to get stripped and painted also, so that's good. I can see that the shuttle is in there and intact. I need to go ahead and get this light off, and again, this is an aftermarket light that was added. So we have some holes drilled into the casting that these two screws are attached to. So let me see if I can get those off. I can't really get to this screw without removing the light fixture, so I'm just going to unscrew this nut here in the back. And it looks like I'm going to need to cut this off, but I'm going to be rewiring it anyway, so let me get this cut off so I can pull this, and I'm just going to get it threaded back on there so nothing gets lost. And get this put away, and now I can reach those two screws for the bracket. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take this plate off. Now, these plates are very dark, but if you watched, Bob Fowler polished a plate for me the other day because I had doubts that he could make it beautiful, and he did. He made it great. And after that video, I bought the same polishing compound that he was using, so hopefully I'll be able to get all of her plates, including these, polished up really well. They should be nickel at this age and state of things when this was made. They should be all nickel, so I'll be able to polish it. It's a yellow compound. To me, it smells like boiling tripe, but if you've never made menudo, you probably don't know what that means, so don't worry about it. The front plate slid off very well, and you can see the last patent date on here is 1891. I think when I looked it up, she's from 1898 as far as her serial number or something, so she's an old girl. The back ones are always a little bit stiffer, but hey, that one's coming off great, so love that. And just to keep all of the plates together, I am going to go ahead and take this front one off too right now. Okay. Lose that. I need to put this with the light fixture. And there you go. Okay, so you know, she's pretty nasty inside, and these are quite dirty, but they are going to be beautiful. So let me get all the plates put away here, and I'll be right back. Yeah, I forgot this little girl here, so let me get it unscrewed also. I'm very thankful these screws are coming off well. I hope that is an omen of things to come, you know, so cut that off also. And just so I don't lose it, I'm going to pull the little shuttle out. It does have a bobbin, so there you go. This is an original one. You can tell it's pointy. The new ones that they make are round, which will work, but they don't stick in the bobbin winder as well, so if you find an original one, keep it. And one more plate that I forgot. Oops, I need to get a wider bit. Hang on. Okay, there we go. All right, last plate. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take her bobbin winder off. There should be a screw right here. Okay. A long one usually. Okay. To pull this off. Now this bobbin winder, it looks like it was not originally painted. I will decide shortly if I'm going to paint it or not. It can be either way. I'll take this apart later. For right now, I just want to get this whole thing, you know, stripped down. But I love this bobbin winder. It's got this big externally placed heart cog. That's kind of cool. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take this off. I'm going to start with the belt guard. Just pulling this off here. I keep this screw usually in the same baggie as the screws from the wheel, just because that helps me remember what is what. So then there's a little nut here. Let me change my bit one more time. Get in here and loosen up this nut. I'm really liking my new tripod thing. It's really handy. Okay, so that's it. It's got a little nipple kind of thing at the end. If you ever see these, they're for wheels, usually. Unscrew this all the way. And it does have the usual washer. And look how easy that came off. What a joy. I love her. Okay. I am going to go ahead and work up here in the nose. Let me go ahead and get this tension unit taken off. Let's see, if I just untwist this. Okay, the whole thing can come off in one big shot here, all right? So this is what it looks like now. I'll be taking it apart later. I want to keep this back piece with it and its little screw. I think possibly because it was remade, you know, well, I don't want to say recently, the 40s or 50s are not that recent, but because it was remade since its original making over 100 and something, I mean, this machine, it's almost 130 years old. You know, we have to love them. But she's coming apart very easily, so I'm very happy about that. Okay, so they did keep a lot of this original here. It has a more modern hinged foot, which is fine. That does actually help when you're actually sewing. I do like a hinged foot when I'm sewing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. I need to get this thread cutter off. Yes, come on. There it goes. All right, so the thread cutter, little tetanus marvels that they are, that is now off. Okay. So this little screw right here, I need to loosen up. I think I bumped it while I was tapping on the thread cutter. There's a set screw in there. Don't lose that. Okay, now this little clamp should be loose from there. If it's not, that means that it is just kind of gummed up. But first I'm going to pull this finial off the top. Very long threads, okay. Now there should be a washer on top of here. Sometimes they fit through the hole, sometimes not. This one is a knot, and it is stuck. See that? So what I'm going to do is pull this up. You know, that block won't fit. I'm going to put a shorter block underneath here. Okay, so it is up higher. And get the little wooden handle here of this poor little hammer that I abuse so much. And I'm going to use that up against it so I can tap the top of this hammer. And it's not loosening. Alrighty. That's okay. I'm going to get some penetrating oil and just spray this a lot, just saturate it and walk away for a little bit because I've got other things going on in the shop here too. And hopefully when I come back, it'll be loosened up enough that I can wiggle this little clamp free. Okay, she is very wet, so I just have my wrench on here and I can turn it around now. So at least whatever was gluing it onto that position there is off now. So let's see if I can raise her up. Well, she's still kind of glued together. So I'm just going to have to do this one little shim at a time. There's also a tiny little screw on there. I am going to try to back that out because that's going to give this slide the ability to compress and hopefully be able to slide up and down. But this is that tiny screw. You don't want to lose this. Trust me, I have crawled on the floor for hours looking for one of those ones. Okay, let me just spend some time doing some more tapping and wiggling and oiling until I can get this free. Okay, she has broken free. So here is the very dirty presser bar. And it's so gunky right here. I think it was this upper part that was holding it hostage, you know. So that's going to get cleaned. I need to go ahead and pull this spring out. I'm not seeing a washer on top. It might be stuck up in here. Yep, there it is. There's my little washer. And again, this is another thing, just dropped it, that I've been trying to find a supplier for, because these get lost so easily. If there's anyone who knows a machine shop or anything that can make these, give me a shout. I need some. I will pay for them to get made. I'd like a few dozen of them. Anyway, here's that little slide clamp. I am going to go ahead and put this tiny little screw back in here. Okay, so it does not get lost. Screw it in with my tiny little screwdriver. Okay, so there you go. That is it for the presser bar. All right, on this machine there is a screw right here that I need to loosen up. That should be the clamp for my needle bar. Okay, and actually before I'm going to be able to pull that out, even if it releases, I need to take the needle clamp and everything off from down here. So first let me unscrew this, looking very standard. And there should be a tiny screw on the back here to unscrew to take this thread guide off. Okay, so there you go. That's the thread guide and its little screw. When I am putting my Ziploc bag together with things that have a bunch of tiny screws, it's just me, but I like to throw a magnet in the baggie with them, and that way all the little screws will just kind of stick to that magnet. And in case the little baggie gets a hole in it, there's a lot less chance that I'm going to lose that tiny screw if they're all kind of stuck together. So just what I do. All right, so now this is free to move up. So can it move up? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and open up this clamping screw here also, because it is basically a clamp. Okay, so that is off, and just like before, I'm going to stick a piece of wood underneath here and see if I can turn this. Ooh, I should have left the wheel on. That would have made my life easier now. I'm going to have to do some more tapping here. So if I had left my hand wheel on, I could have, braced myself and just cranked really hard on the hand wheel, but I didn't. I took it off. So what I'm doing is putting my wood here, and I'm just going to tap my wood because it won't damage. It's a soft wood. It's not going to damage that needle bar, and you can see that's pushing this up. So now I can turn my wheel so it's a bit lower again. Put my wood underneath. Oops. One more time. And tap it up again. Okay. And just keep doing that until it has worked itself out. Here. Not wanting to. Well, give me a minute. I'm going to have to just do some stuff here and get this needle bar out. A smart person would probably have just put that wheel back on, but I like to live dangerously. Okay, this has come off. Needs to get cleaned. Obviously, this is going to slide up and down in a slot in the casting on the inside there. And there is this little bearing. I can't lose that. That's going to go over this little piece here, but that does not come off. I'm leaving the main shaft in. I do not take main shafts out. It's just my motto. Okay, so I'm going to take this lifter lever off. There's a little screw inside of here. It's hard to get to with this screwdriver. I'm going to get a different one that I can get closer to the wall. She does not want to come free. Sometimes, there we go. All right, this is going to take me a while because I'm just going to have to turn it a little bit at a time, but this little screw here needs to come out. Okay, got it out. There you go. So that's going to go away securely. And then I need to take this lifter lever out. And on this side, you can see there's a very big bolt right here. We're going to try it with the Chapman first. You know what? I'm going to put my ratchet on there just for extra oomph. Sometimes these are tough. This one might be easy. You never know. I think my Chapman bit is bent. I need to get a different one. Okay. I have a lot of replacement bits, so don't worry about that. There we go. Okay, so this is that bolt. And let me see if I can just get this out. Sometimes these are tricky. Sometimes you need to pull them through here. I usually try to pull them from the front. I need to put some penetrating oil in here because it's a little bit sticky in there. Okay. Just not wanting to. There we go. She's moving towards the back now. There we go. Okay. Okay. So for this one, for this particular machine, pulling it out that way is good. So this little bearing that's on here, that stays on, but it does need to get cleaned up very well. Okay, looking underneath here, I'm going to go ahead and take these pivot points. There's, back you out a bit, one on each end here. And I need a big screwdriver. Get in there. So this is a 9/16 inch nut. Let me go get my ratchet. There we go. So it's righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I want to make sure I'm loosening this. There we go. If I can get this nut loosened up first, that's going to be a big help. Kind of gummy. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and spray down all of this stuff here just to make my life easier. You know, it's going to get cleaned up anyway. Okay, where was I? Okay, so there's my nut off. There's one of these on the other side also. And get this unscrewed, a very, very dirty pivot point. Okay. So that's going to come off, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Okay, actually, before I can take this out, I forgot I need to get these feed dogs off. They are kind of dirty there, aren't they? Oops, you didn't see that. They're kind of dirty. So if I turn her this way, there's a screw right there. I need to, oh my goodness, my hands are so greasy right now. Back out this screw. Well, let me do this. Take this off because it's just getting in everybody's way here. Okay, so there's that little screw, and I should be able to wiggle these out, okay? So now I can finish getting this pulled out. So back down underneath here, this side is loose. This side is still attached. There's a nut right here that I believe is 3/8. Yes, it is. So again, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you know. Can't believe how many times I tell myself that every day. My hands are so greasy. Well, I need to loosen this up. Let me put my little ratchet back on here and maybe change my gloves 'cause I don't think there's anything. You see how greasy these guys are? I have to really congratulate Jen, Sewing Machine Rehab. She takes things apart on her white towel, and she is so clean, and I am just so not. I stand in awe of her ability to not totally make everything in her room dirty. Okay, so I'm going to hold this still. There we go. Using the ratchet, I got my thumb over here so I can keep my screwdriver from turning. All right, now if I can get this nut off, slowly, there we go. I should be able to push out this screw here. Maybe it's threaded. Don't tap too hard, Marie. It might be threaded. I love the ratchet, but it gets in the way when you don't need it. Okay. There we go. When I tap things, in general, I tap them quite lightly, unless, you know, I say otherwise. Maybe it's not eccentric. Maybe it's just straight. If it's an eccentric bolt, usually that means it's for a setting adjustment. But this looks strangely symmetrical to me. So anyway, it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and put this little nut back on it just so I don't lose it. And I can pull this entire shaft off right now. And that is filthy. When I do this, I like to just take one side off at a time and then clean it, and then take this side and clean it, so I don't take it off ahead of time. I will do that later as I'm doing individual parts cleaning. All right, this is the fork, the feet adjustment fork, and I will deal with that from up top. Let me get this put away and we'll deal with this part. Okay, I'm going to take this shaft off now. Now this is a, well, it feels slightly curved. Sometimes they're very curved on the bottom, but when you put it back on, make sure the flat part is facing out. And before I do that, I'm going to loosen up these little clamping screws. Come on, baby, get in that little slot. Okay, I'm just going to loosen that up on that side. And get my screwdriver in the slot, loosen it up on this side. Okay, so actually I'm going to put this back on. My hands are so greasy, I really need the ratchet. Okay, getting this one off. Okay. All right, so this is off here. It's just a regular shouldered screw. This one here. Okay, and that's this little flatter, large-headed screws over there. So this should come off, and it does. So the more curved side with the number on it goes up towards the casting. This comes out looking at you. Okay, let me put that away. Go ahead and get the little bobbin holder off first. Over here. Okay. Okay, so that's the screw holding on the bobbin holder. And will it come off is the question. It should. There it goes. Okay, so now that came free. It was just kind of glued together. All right, so this thing here, we have a couple little screws on this side over here that are like clamping screws. I need to get those loosened up. And this top part here, there's a screw on the side that I need to get taken off. So 1, 2, 3 screws. I can tell you this would have been a lot easier to do when this piece was not wanting to spin. You know, I have it kind of wedged in a position so it's not going to want to turn. But yeah, it was spinning around and around and around, so normally I would not have it wedged up here, but I'm taking it off anyway. And getting this screw in or out is in an awkward position also. I think if it was turned this way, I could actually get a regular screwdriver in there. So let me try that here. Okay. Well, there you go. That's much easier. Okay. And this ring around the top here, there's a little screw in it I need to get removed. Let me go back to my Chapman bit. All right, for this one, I had to tip her up on her nose, so I had some downward leverage to get this little guy here loosened. Okay, so that is this tiny little set screw. Don't want to lose that. And now hopefully I can get this ring off here. Okay. Sometimes you just do what you need to do. And this is one of those times. This should be unthreading all the way off, hopefully. Since I have these clamped in one position, hopefully it will not scratch, but if they do, I can buff it off. And no, this is in good shape, no problems. All right, so now I can pull this piece off, and I'm probably just gonna leave this in place. It's not hurting anything that way. Let me get this put up. Okay, and finally, I'm gonna deal with this stitch length fork here. So, changing out my bit again for a larger one. I'm gonna unscrew this. There should be a little, hang on, holding the machine steady. There it goes. There should be a little three-pronged washer underneath it. This is very gooey. I'm guessing this is original grease. I don't think that they redid this part when they motorized it. Just my guess, though. Actually, I have another machine. It's one of my own. It's a VS2 that was completely modernized after World War II. Lots of aftermarket stuff. They Godzilla'd over the original finish and everything. It's missing a plate. And I am going to be redoing that, you know. But just letting you know, sometimes things happen, and even though they're really old, they might have modern stuff on them. Oh my goodness. I think I have her unthreaded. She's just stuck in there, so hang on. Yeah, she was just stuck. Kind of gooiness there. So here's that big bolt and the washer. And okay, see, I'm unthreading this, and because this bolt is off, I should be able to release this little block that's in there. Just wiggling and wiggling. You can tell it's pretty nasty in there. When I strip machines, my paint stripper does a really good job of cleaning out the nasties inside. So I'm not worried about that too much. I'm trying to get this block off though. She's being obstinate. Give me a sec. Okay, got it off. This bearing was glued in here, so it wasn't wanting to come apart freely, but you know, with enough knob turning and things, anything is possible. So yeah, that's going to definitely need to get cleaned up a lot. Now that that is out, I can finish pulling this out the rest of the way. And that's going to be about it for the mechanicals. I still need to get this badge off though. Okay, so I have had people ask me to show them how I take off these badges, and I don't like showing it because I get quite brutal. And I leave this in because if you take this off, you can't really take this off without taking off the main shaft, which is big issues, which does not need to be dealt with. And I don't even think I can show you, but inside of here, there's the tail ends of these two pins that are holding the badge on, okay? And so getting the badge off is easier if those pins are short. So what I do is I get a substantial, oh, look at my thumb there, I get a substantial flat screwdriver, put it up against the inside there, and tap until it breaks off. And then I need to find the other one. And this is just the way I do it. If you find a better way that works for you, please help yourself. Just feeling around in there. All right, this one actually feels kind of short on that side. Let's see what I can do. Let me get a razor blade and see if I can start to wiggle this up without causing any issues. Not coming easily. All right, need to change gloves, obviously. I'm putting this very thin, you know, screwdriver underneath there. And just popping the head off, all right? And then I can come in this side, because I can put a different pin on, but if I screw this up, it's harder. Now you can, if it gets slightly bent like that, it's just slightly bent, I can take a block of wood and a soft hammer and just try to flatten that out, and that works pretty well. I need a new glove, obviously. So taking that off, there's going to be a, well, this one it came out all together, which is great. On this side, there's a pin stuck in there. So this is a 1/16 inch punch, which fits nicely. So I can put that on there. Let me move this so I don't tap my camera. And that taps right out, okay? So then my holes are ready to put the new pins in, and I'll do that. So this is going to go in its own baggie, get cleaned up, and that is it. So yes, I have other parts that are going to need a lot of work, but she is clean enough to go ahead and get her and several other parts into the stripper. This is the bracket for the motor. That's going to go in. I'm reaching over here. That is going to go in. And this is going to go into the stripper. I will be painting this also, but it does not go in the stripper, and I need to disassemble this, pull the housing off, and be able to mask it carefully and everything, because you don't just want to spray paint a motor like this. That's a no-no. Don't do that. Okay, so that's it. I'll put her in the stripper. Next time we're going to go ahead and get her painted. She's going to be a beauty. I'm really excited about the paint scheme that this girl's going to have. So hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.